I'm sitting here with Frick and Frack. Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas joining us as he is kibitzing already with his good friend and former teammate Steve Tasker. Yeah.
I turn into an old man when Thurman comes in. I do. I turn into a crotchety
Back in
old
my
man.
day. Yeah, that does happen from time to time. Thurman, how you doing? You're fresh off the plane here, coming in from Charlotte.
Yeah, coming in from Charlotte, visiting my grandson, for
How's he
about
doing?
4 or 5. He's doing great, man. Just
He's running around now, right?
he's walking around.
Yeah, walking,
not
okay.
running yet, but he's doing great. We're excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How you feel about this one? Bills Ravens. There might be a lot of rain on Sunday from the storm.
I'm having a hard time feeling good about it.
Yeah, we were struggling a little bit. You want to cheer us up?
I mean, I'm kind of having a hard time, about this game too. I mean, they're talking about rain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
70% chance of rain.
We have not shown any glimpse really of a somewhat running game.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you. We'll get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah, and so, I'm a little worried. And then on the other side, I mean, obviously, you guys have probably already talked about it with Lamar Jackson being in his mode to get a new contract. I'm sure they're probably thinking, you know what, where Miami is now, that's where we should be, because we blew that lead to Miami a couple of weeks ago. They should be the 1-3-0 everybody talking about right now. And so, and now the team that everybody had picked got a loss now, and they dropped from the top rankings, and they're like number 2 in some polls.
They're like yesterday's newspaper.
Right, exactly. So, I'm Baltimore. I'm feeling pretty good with Lamar Jackson running the show. They're motivated, but you know what? Even with that, I still think that this team is motivated too. I just believe that, hey, look, I thought we should have won the game by at least 14 points.
I was calling for.
On Monday, we were calling it the game of lost points.
Absolutely.
Like two field goal attempts, they never even got on.
They turned it over in their own end, gave them a touchdown.
Right.
They missed a field goal.
Milano missed the interception.
Milano
returned for a
didn't get the
touchdown.
pick six.
Davis.
Josh one-hopped it.
Gabe Davis drops one in the end zone, or it gets knocked out of his hands. And then you had two field goal attempts at the end of both halves that you didn't get to attempt.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm still feeling pretty good if I'm in that locker room right now. I know we're going against Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens on the road. It might be, but I still know that I'm one of the top teams in the National Football League, if still not the top team. And the way to prove that is to go out and win Sunday. Man, you'll make everybody forget about Miami, because Miami got problems now because this game tonight that they're going to be playing in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just pump the brakes a little bit right here with Miami, because this team out on this football field that's practicing today, the Buffalo Bills, still a really good football team, and I expect them to, no matter what the weather may be, I still expect them to come out and play well.
Yeah, and playing well may not be enough against this crew. Baltimore is, and we were talking about, both these teams come in 2-1. They both lost to the same team.
Right.
And the team they lost to got no more respect in either city after the win than they have at the beginning.
Right, exactly.
Baltimore blew 2 coverages, gave them 14 points. The Bills there was like time and time again melted because of the heat and humidity. Plus, they were completely ravaged by a rash of minor injuries that kept guys out of line. I mean, it's like one thing after another. Now, this team also has struggled to play well in bad weather because they're not a run-first team. They're a pass-first team.
Yeah.
How do you flip that switch? And, because I know this, too. You talk to all the offensive linemen. They say, if you want to run it well, just keep running it.
Yeah.
We'll get better quick, because they need live reps against,
Well, I tell you what, if they didn't start that practice on, Wednesday, getting the pads and getting some sound coming out right there, then I think that's what they should have done. I mean, because they're going to need it. They're going to need it with this football team, and it all starts with the offensive linemen. Hey, look, they've been great all year. Obviously struggle mate this past game with Spencer Brown and other injuries, but this is a really good offensive line. Really good offensive line. And, hey, it's time for those guys. You know what? Let me tighten this chin strap just a little bit tighter right here on both sides. and smack them in the mouth. That's all you have. That's all you have because you're putting too much pressure, I think, in my opinion, on Josh Allen to do everything.
Yeah.
That's just, look, if they continue to have Josh do everything for the next 5 or 6 years, his arm's going to fall off like Peyton Manning. Really, seriously. They need a running game. And, hey, look, I want them to run the ball. Right. I want to see more of James Cook out in the slot or out playing wide receiver, catching the ball. Where was that?
He made some nice decisions at the end of that game. He had 4 catches for 37 yards, anticipated where the defender was closing on him, and made a move as soon as he caught the ball. There's some natural instincts there that are very appealing.
Yeah, and just on one of the plays that that Zach Moss had the long run on, I thought it was 28. I thought he was taking it all away.
What did I tell you on Monday, Steve?
If it was 28,
I was like, if it's 28, it's 6.
That's what I told him.
It's 28,
said
it's 6. I
Cook's
love
on the
Zach
field-
Moss. I love him picking up the blitz or whatever, but
It's
if
a
that's
touchdown.
That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown.
I
so,
agree.
Hey, look, I want these running backs to do well. I think we got 3 good running backs.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit because Steve and I have kind of knocked this around through the course of the week. I feel that Coach McDermott wants the running game to get to a level where if it's something they need to turn to, they can rely upon it no matter who they're playing in a given week. So if the passing game isn't exactly in sync, or you have a hurricane and you need to run the ball, you are not inept at it. Now, Aaron Cromer's new. He's putting in the new schemes with Ken Dorsey. It obviously is not where they want it to be right now.
Right.
What do you think is a realistic period of time when a new line coach comes in to get that thing humming up front the way it should be so the running game is as productive as it needs to be?
Well, I think this goes all the way back to training camp. Do you do it enough? And I don't think they do it enough. Starting back in training camp.
Right.
You have a new offensive line coach.
Rep it.
Huh?
Rep it.
Rep him.
Yeah.
You got to do it. You just have to do it. I mean, you have to take some time out in your schedule to be like, this is what we got to do, guys. This is what we have to do. And sure, it may take, I don't want it to take week 6 for us to realize that,
Yeah, I
or
don't
week
either.
7. It needs to start right now. And obviously it needs to start with the offensive line. You know what? Hey, go up to Coach McDermott and say, man, we need to run the ball. Or Ken Dorsey. Just kind of make it a point to the coaches. I made it a point to Tom Bresnahan. Well, I don't like this play. I like the counter. Come on, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
What do we do best?
Let me float this out and see what you guys think about this. We saw the running game kind of come into its own last year in last
final 6 weeks of the
5,
season.
6 weeks of the season. There is a little bit of this, I think, in my thought that, you don't get enough good reps in the run game because you can't hit during practice these days, and because the rules
one
don't
day
let
in
you
pads a
power.
week.
Right, and you're spending it healing up, really.
Yeah.
My thought would be is they say, listen, Josh is gonna carry it. He's gonna carry us through this first part. As the season rolls on, though, and when we get into games, maybe if we are up, we can start to rep the run game as much as we want in the game, so that later we can start to get used to running the football in times where we can run it whenever we want because the score is out of whack. And then later in the season, after we've done that, you use the season to get your run game greased because you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Use the season to develop your run game, which is why it took so long last year, like 12 or 13 weeks into the season before they ever really started running it well. What do you think about that philosophy of maybe saying, listen, we can't practice it during the regular season, we can't practice in the preseason because we can't hit. Let's just try and keep afloat with our running game, and then too, you're kind of a victim to the matchups.
Yeah.
And like this game, you ain't gonna have any choice. You're gonna have to run it, and you're gonna get some reps on it, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to run it, and obviously Josh is gonna have to run it too. I think too.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a big part of that. But it's hard to figure out. Like you said, from training camp, how things have gone. Is there really a nice running team in the National Football League? I think there's a couple of teams out there that run it very, very well. I think Detroit's up there now, somewhere up at the top. right?
The Bears
They got
actually
two-
run it well. They can't
Yeah.
throw it worth a lick, but they run it well.
But I think, if you look at
Browns
the
are running it
Bears,
well.
if you
Browns
look at the
run it well.
Bears, you
The
look at
Panthers run it well.
But if you look at the Bears, the Browns, and the Lions, I think their offensive line is totally different from our offensive line.
Okay,
Because you
how-
look at the quarterbacks.
Okay.
Look at the quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, you got Brissett right now in Cleveland.
Right, you got
Goff in Detroit.
So where's
Justin
your
Fields in
where's
Chicago.
your bread and butter going to be? That's how your offensive line is built. Here is Josh Allen, so we need guys that can pass block.
All right. What do you think about? I know you said you like all three guys that they have in the backfield. Do you want to see more of Cook going forward, or do you just want to kind of keep seeing the committee shuffle going on? I mean, Devin had a nice game last
Yeah.
week. Very active in the passing game as a safety valve. Did a nice job. But the game-breaking ability of Cook is kind of hard to ignore.
Well, you know what? It all goes back to Brownie is, you know what? As a running back, you want to get in a rhythm. And it's hard to get in a rhythm when you got three guys that kind of do different things.
Right,
Zach
right.
is there for pretty much he showed good speed on the long run, but he's in there to pick up blitzes. I mean, Singletary had his best career reception-wise and yardage-wise last week, and this good. So all of them do different things, and it's hard to get into a rhythm. It's hard to try to get into a flow because if you bring Cooks in, you can do some more outside stuff, but you can do inside stuff too.
Okay.
And so you can mix it up a little bit more with him. So it's going to be hard for these guys to get into a rhythm and and see what they can do. I mean, that obviously when you have three different guys, kind of the offensive line is like, okay, who we got now? Do we got the speedster back here? Do we got the power guy?
Because there is a
back
little
here?
bit of a familiarity with who's running back.
Yeah.
Running back. Here's the problem: the teams that run it the best, it goes for like this: 1 through 5 is this. It's Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, the Giants, and Atlanta.
Oh, three of those quarterbacks
None of those.
at the bottom.
None of those teams. None of those teams scare anybody, and they're running the most of anybody per game.
Because they have
So, I get what we're saying about this game because it might be a monsoon and they may not have any choice. You can't throw it at all. I get that, but it's a throwing league.
Yeah.
The problem is this: everybody wants it. Everybody wants whenever we want to run it, we want to get 7 yards a run, and that way, they have to come in and bear up to stop, and we're at 2nd and 3 at worst, or 1st and 10.
Yeah.
But it's kind of unrealistic in today's NFL because stopping the run is about gaps, and these guys are so disciplined and they're so well coached at every team. Run defense is better now than it's ever been, not just because of the fact that teams throw it a lot, but also because of the discipline these guys have in the. You just get smart guys up there, and they get in the gap, and there's no
Well,
place
you
to
got
run.
you got the run pass option now.
Yeah.
So they got to be aware of that now. I mean, nobody did the run pass option when we were playing.
That's right.
It wasn't even thought of, right?
Right.
And we especially wasn't doing it here with Jim. So my bad, Jim.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
Oh, sorry. Was that a laugh?
almost had a spit take over there.
Yeah, but it's totally different. These guys here, they know that most of the time throughout the National Football League, it's going to be a pass.
What do we think about the fact that the backs, I think they caught 15 passes last week against the Dolphins. What can that do for the Bills' offense just by having that on tape for future opponents? What does that do?
Oh, I think it does wonders. I think all three of those guys can do it. Cook had a draw. Haven't seen a screen yet. Have we seen a screen yet?
I think they scrapped screens last week because it was so dang hot. They didn't want the linemen doing any extra running. I honestly think that was part of the reason why.
I mean, they're only going to run about.
They were
5
also
or
on,
10
let's not
5 or
forget,
10
by the end
yards.
of the game, they were also on linemen 7, 8, and 9 on the roster. So they were trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, they were trying to
7,
keep it
8, and
simple.
9, and number 9 had an ACL.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they were
At the end of the rope.
yes.
yeah.
So there's a lot of extenuating circumstances
yeah.
about that game last week,
Yeah.
and it's still a tight game.
Yeah.
And what do you make about that? The Bills lose these tight games. They always lose by a single possession.
Yeah, they haven't won
win by double digits.
a one-score game since
Who
the
keeps up with that stuff?
well.
I mean, I think it's a made-up stat.
It's Bills Patriots 2020. Week 8, they won 24-21 on the Justin Zimmer punch-out fumble at the end of the game on Cam Newton.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
their last one-score game that they won. They've lost
Well,
the last 7 after that.
Yeah, but they've won a
I
ton
don't
of
think
games
that's
by
any
double
indication
digits.
of your team.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
hard
it's.
to, yeah.
I don't think you can. I really struggle with. So you're saying it would have been even better if their last 7 digits, 4 of them would have been by 10 or 14 points. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
This would be a non-thing.
I think the
What the better stat would be how many of all of their losses have been by single digits and how many have been by double digits.
Yeah.
That's the better stat.
I think
Because you're not going to go.
Well, I think the only one by double digits in the last year plus is the Indy game.
The only loss by double digits.
Or loss, sorry.
That's right.
That's it.
That is it. Nobody's got more, games like that than Buffalo.
Right.
I mean, a higher percentage than that
Yeah.
in Buffalo.
But the
Just
easy
win the game.
Yeah, the easy perception is people are like, oh, they can't win the close ones. I mean, they couldn't even do it against Jacksonville last year, 9-6, and blah blah blah. That's the narrative that comes out of
But what
that.
is everybody else's record?
Well,
Come on, they can't. Come on, they just.
yeah, they don't take the time
Yeah,
to
they
look
don't take
that
the
up.
time, because we've probably been in that situation the most in the last 1 or 2 years. I don't know. I think
I'm
it's
with you. How many other losses have been by single possessions, and how many have been by more than that?
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
9 or more points.
Look that stat up.
That's the because it's an incomplete stat, and at least it's just
Thurman's giving us homework.
You
over
had
here.
Phil Yates
Driving
on
me.
here. Yeah, have
Get
him
him on
look
that.
it up.
Drive
Right,
him
exactly.
Use
yeah.
that ESPN stats and info there and find the answer.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a reason why they didn't go a step further in those statistics. They probably started to and got, actually it's very good.
One other thing, Thurman, the Bills have been very good on third down. They lead the league here through the first 3 weeks, about 61% conversion, thanks in large part to week 1 when they were 9-10.
Right.
But still in all, it looks like Ken Dorsey's approach through the first 3 weeks is to get to third and very, very manageable.
Yeah.
Brian Dable would take more shots down the field early in games. Sometimes he'd come upon a 3rd and 8 or a 3rd and 9.
Right.
It looks like the way Dorsey has been calling the games, at least through the first 3 weeks, is take the short stuff to get a little bit here, a little bit there, so you have 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s. I think there's pluses to that,
Yeah.
and I think there's minuses to that. But just what do you think of the approach overall?
First-year offensive coordinator. Okay, let's go the safe route.
Yeah.
Let's do a lot of the check downs and do a lot of the things like that. And I think as the season goes along, I think you'll see more of Dawson Knox. I think you'll see more Gabe Davis when he gets healthier. I think you'll see that more down the field. But right now, it's like, you know what? I'm a first-year offensive coordinator. I want 2nd and 4.
Yeah.
I want 2nd and 3. And that's why you've seen the check downs or whatever. But I think eventually, once he gets into the flow and, hey, look, maybe some of those check downs are not there, forces you to throw the ball down deep. So I think it'll come. But I just think he's this is his first year doing this. And he has to try to find, like, a way for him to explore everything in an entire game, which I think he can. I think with some of the check downs and being in that situation where you're 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 4, those are times to where you can take a shot down the field. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Yeah.
And so those could be coming, but it probably won't come this game because it's going to be raining. But still, you might have to take a shot.
Yeah, some of that is just to get into their mind about your willingness to do it, and maybe they put it on the plate for them to think about in all these other routes that you're doing.
There's a rhythm element to that too, though, right? Like if you keep hitting that short stuff, you're staying on the field, you're moving the sticks. I mean, I know it's like, hey, we're gonna take a shot here. or not?
These days,
Do we have one dialed up anytime
I
soon?
got a $43 million arm here. Come on, let me
with a guy like Josh, I would say there are probably certain plays in the menu where, and Dorsey would probably remind him and say, listen, when we call this, if you see this, go. He'll give them those. They'll be on the plate.
If you see it, take it. Yeah.
If you see it, take it, or make the adjustment and then take it. And maybe some of those things are coming a little bit less than often than they thought because teams are looking at Josh going, we're keeping a lid
Diggs
on
is
this.
leading the league in receiving yards.
Right, and receptions.
Josh
and
is
reception,
leading, Josh is
so,
leading in yards, yeah.
they're moving the ball down
Yes.
the
Oh, no
field.
que- I mean,
there's-
Josh threw for
but
400
it's
yards.
It's just like we just can't like.
He also
find
threw
a
it
way-
63 times.
I know that worries me, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
That was a
So
that
what about-
game was
so-
different. It was just
It
different.
was just different.
So let's think about this, though, with respect to what has looked like, for lack of a better term, a lot of short passing, dink dunk stuff. There's an opinion out there that by running more plays, you're giving more film to opposing defensive coordinators to study and dissect. Do you think that gives them more to work with to come up with answers, or does that not matter because Josh Allen's
we
a
had
unicorn?
10 plays when we ran in the 90s. It don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't think that gives a defense an edge or how many plays you run.
Like there's more to chew on for a DC that's got to face you the next
you
week.
don't
Does
know
that
when-
make a difference?
I don't think it makes a difference because you
Okay.
don't know when that play is going to come.
Right.
I mean, is it play number 88 that they ran, or is it play number 23
Mm-hmm.
that they ran? I mean,
Right.
if you want to sit down and dissect all of that stuff, I think you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Chasing
Yeah,
ghosts.
you got.
Yeah.
I think when you're a defensive coordinator, you're thinking people rather than. What you are thinking concepts, no question. When
Right.
they're down in distance, they like this, they like that, but
matchups.
you're thinking, okay, if this guy's over here and this guy's over here, this is how we want to play. But if they're on the same side, it's more of that.
Okay.
Because, offensive coordinators are in there all the time thinking, we should try this, and drawing different lines and using this concept and mixing this concept. So it looks completely different to the defense anyway. So it's. I can't get into the mind of a defensive coordinator looking at it, but they're thinking people, not plays.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have a feel for this one, Thurman, before we let you go?
I don't.
Okay. All right. That's
don't.
okay. You don't have to.
The weather obviously is the biggest factor.
Yeah, and we don't know yet how
We don't
bad it's
know
going to
yet.
be.
We don't know.
And it's
On
a grass
clear-
field.
How about this? Sunny, 68 degrees. Now tell me about
Bill's
the game.
scoring over 30.
I think both teams score over 30.
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. I don't think so. You must be counting some special teams touchdowns in there.
Defensive touchdown.
yeah.
Listen, Baltimore is hanging points on people.
Okay.
They are.
I mean, but
They lead the league in scoring.
Okay, but have they played a defense like ours?
I just hope our
Even
defense
with
is
the
healthy.
injuries. I know. Even with the injuries, I'm telling you something. What them two rookies went through last week,
Yeah.
they're not going to. Well, I mean, I keep bringing the rain. It's not going to be that way this week. They're mostly
Right,
going
I
to be
get
focusing on. All right, more than anything,
gonna wear
if
different
that ball
pads,
is not,
yeah.
if that ball is wet, I'm trying to tackle people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tackle people. Yeah, I'm coming up from the secondary, the corners. Everybody had to be a part of this.
All right, Thurm. I'm glad you made it in. Glad your travels happened well and you traveled safely. That's good.
Yep.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any friends or family in Florida?
Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody all right down there?
Yeah, everybody's good. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
everybody's good.
Excellent. Enjoy the game on Sunday, Thurm. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, bro. Thank you.